Hey guys, you're watching the Best Practices Show, where we take a look at the best business practices from the best dental practices all over the country. And I have an amazing treat for you. If you're a young dentist and you're trying to figure out this path on dental insurance, I've got one of the worldwide experts on how to communicate positively about your dental benefits with your patients and your team, Dr. Doyle Freano from Kentucky, who's an instructor at the Dawson Academy. You do not want to miss this. So do me a favor. Grab a pen and hit the share button. We'll see you in a second. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practices Show. Thank you so much for watching. It's been crazy. We are now in season 2, episode 93, and just getting a ton of feedback, and now over 17,000 followers on Facebook, and over 30,000 have found us on iTunes, which is just mind-blowing. So thank you guys for watching, and thanks for all of your suggestions. Now, one of the hot topics that comes up all the time is how do we communicate about dental insurance or our benefits? And I wanted to reach out and find one of the experts on this, and we've got him today. So you do not want to miss this. Now, couple things. We are shooting this live. So if you're watching this and you have a question, add it to the feed, and I'll ask Doyle himself, and we'll get the answer right from the expert. Or if you're watching this later on, continue to add your questions to the feed, and we'll make sure that we get you the answers, because we want you to get the most out of this. Now, my guest today is Dr. Doyle Freano from Kentucky, who you're going to get to meet in a second. I love this guy. He's a lot of fun. And I've gotten to know him through the Dawson Academy, watched many of his webinars, also have seen him speak live. And most recently, we were together at the Dawson Alumni Academy meeting, which was absolutely spectacular. And Doyle, I know who you are, but if somebody doesn't know who you are, can you share with our viewers who you are, your story, all that kind of stuff?
All right. Well, Kirk, like I said, probably my tombstone will say a good guy with a few bad habits. So I'm a dentist in Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm one of the guys that really likes being a dentist. I've been out 35 years. I can't believe it. It seems like about 15. I still wish I had about 30 more to go. I mean, I really enjoy being a dentist. I went to University of Kentucky here in Lexington, grew up in Kentucky, and practiced here most of my entire practice life. I got involved in the Dawson Academy out of desperation because the market had changed, and all this aesthetic, functional things started hitting my office 20 years ago, and I didn't have a clue how to do it. But the patients thought I did, because I was a doctor, and they think if you're a doctor, you know everything about all of it, and you passed your boards and made 100, and you retained it all, and you're up to date. So I went back to the Dawson Academy, started taking the courses, and then was fortunate enough about 12 years ago to join their faculty, and was past president of the Alumni Association the last 6 years. My first 6 or 7 years, I taught at University of Kentucky oral diagnosis and oral medicine part-time. But the bulk of my time has been chairside with patients and doing what everybody else does, trying to make a living and trying to be happy doing it. And so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, people are going to see it's a lot more than just that. I mean, it's pretty cool. And you're one of the best, if not the best, I've ever heard talk about this subject. And you mentioned before we went on here, and we've talked about this is one of your passions. Your passion is to protect this profession you love so much and give dentists a lot of really good tools that maybe took you 30 years to figure out. And sometimes it's just changing the way you think, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Kirk, the thing, I developed this talk and through a combination of listening to dentists and listening to patients and then experiencing it. But, it's just important. You're right. I do want to be known for this, because I think this is just the hornet's nest of a daily dental practice, the dental insurance issue, the dental benefits issue. So I came up with the idea of how to communicate positively, because the number one thing is we have to be positive in our communications with our patients and our communications with our team. was such a lousy subject. I mean, it's such a hornet's nest when patients come in and they bring us all the stuff and all the junk that comes from the insurance company toward us. And I'm not against them. They're in business to make a living, but they are so masters at communicating their language. They have their own language that they've inculcated in people's minds. Like, first it was preferred provider. It's like, what's a preferred provider? I'm a pretty doggone preferred provider right here in Lexington. I know I prefer it. My patients prefer me. What does that mean? It means nothing. And participating. Of course I participate. I'm not in network. I just file the claims, take photos, write letters, photocopy the card. I waive for payment sometimes. So all this language they use, I decided, how can we have our language that's positive and take the conversation back?
Yeah, and you are so good at this. Now, we're going to get into the specific mechanics of this, but I want you to talk about why this is so important, why this particular topic is so important, and the opportunity that a lot of young dentists have, because there's a lot of young dentists that watch this. And so when you talked about trust, tell us about that.
Well, we just got this mindset in the patient world that I've got to have insurance or I can't have care. And that couldn't be further from the truth. But the opportunity is that patients are really figuring out that I'm not really getting the benefits that I thought I was getting from this plan, and I'm not getting the treatments that I thought I was going to get, and the government's not really very reliable in delivering it. I mean, there's a structure here of government insurance for health that's pretty good. Medicare and Medicaid's not. Medicare's pretty good. But when you go to your private insurance, they relate health to dental, and they're translating it over with dental, but they're getting the idea that this is somehow not working here. My dental is not really an insurance. If my mouth's a wreck, they only pay this much, and then I have to pay the rest. Whereas if my body, something happens, if I'm in a wreck, or if I have an unknown illness, I pay this much, and I can handle that, and my health insurance does this. But in the dental view, people are figuring out this is not working so well. They're coming in and talking to me and they're starting to trust me again. That's where the opportunity is. You need to be the person that they trust. And when they call their representative in the whatever, I don't want to just pick on insurance companies, Kirk, but when they call, the companies, the Guardian, the Aetna, the Delta Dental, and they get put on hold and they get the runaround, they read the language that they've used. It's impossible for them to decipher. I mean, who is an independent dental consultant, Kirk? I want to know who that guy is. I asked a guy once on the telephone over here. He said an independent dental consultant had turned my thing. I said, well, is this guy in a treehouse somewhere not getting paid? I mean, he's working for you guys. Come on, he's not independent. You're paying him. So when patients get that stuff, they get ticked off too. And we've got to be their advocate again, and they'll see that. We've got to take that right. And that's the opportunity. My patients tell me all the time, listen, this is true. I had today, the HR director, Toyota, the Camry factory here is a big deal in Kentucky, where most Toyotas in the United States are made right here. Their HR person came in, she goes, I've been out of network for years for only one reason. I get how the whole deal works. I told her I was doing this today with you. And she goes, I know it's benefits, it's not insurance. No. We don't want to be a participating provider. I'm coming to you. And she said she's got some PFM crowns that were cast metal, like non-precious metal, 20-something years old. And of course, her insurance downcoded it when I sent Emacs. And I explained the whole deal. She goes, well, why would I want to do that? And I said, you wouldn't. That's why if I'm out of network, I give you this choice. Yeah. And so, she's a pretty savvy person choosing to be out of network. If she's in charge of all the benefits, the HR benefit at Toyota, she knows the score. There's lots of people that get this if we learn to communicate it right.
Yeah. Now, take us through the evolution of this, because I think it's pretty cool. You have been so intentional and you care about your team, and you said, hey, look, we all have to be on the same page. Number one, I don't want anybody to use the word insurance. Number two, I'm going to create a video so that we're all in line and we can start to communicate, which we're going to post a link to that so people can watch that. So tell us how that evolved in this whole process.
It came out of the phone call. because the phone call is where they go, hey, I want to be a patient of Dr. Freano. Is he in network, or is he a participating provider? And I caught wind a couple of times of employees just going, no, he's not, hanging up. Whoa, wait a minute. I work by referral. I didn't have any advertisements out. This was before my website was really all gassed up like it is now. I mean, I do get more calls with my website now, but 8 or 9 years ago, I mean, phone, it was all word of mouth, completely no ads at all. And what I recognize is that patient only knew how to ask if I was in network or not, because they thought they had to go to an in-network or else it was going to be a financial catastrophe, which none of that's true. What I understood is that patient had heard I was a pretty good dentist and their friends liked me and I was in the neighborhood, or they had met me or something, and they wanted to know if their benefits worked here. So we started with that premise, is that is what the patient is really asking. And then we started saying, since it's not insurance, it's a benefit plan, we're not going to use the term dental insurance anymore. If you look on the paper that the insurance company sends you, it is sold by insurance companies, but it will say their dental benefits package. And so we started talking to my employees, and I started saying, listen, we've got to stop saying insurance. We got to start saying benefits. And it was really hard. Had to change a few people, not just over this thing, but all the new people. I've really got them, inculcated with this or brainwashed with it. But the point of it is, think about it, guys. If you bought dental insurance and came running into the car dealer and says, I'm going to get a new car because I've got dental insurance, what would that mean? I'm going to go crash. I'm going to pay $500. I get a new car. How many times could you do that? Nobody does that. But it's truly insurance in case you crash and, God forbid, hurt someone. You pay a little bit and they pay the rest. And you're not planning on doing it. If you keep doing it, you don't even get to buy it anymore. Yeah. People make the leap that my dental insurance works like my that. And that's why I say, look, if you bought your car insurance and it said, we're going to pay for 2 cleanings a year over here at Jeff's Car Wash, and we're going to pay for 80% oil changes, because that's really important, and belts, and then 50% of transmission up to $1,000, would you want it? No, I wouldn't. Well, that's what your dental benefits is. We related it to health, the same thing. If you had a really bad illness, we're not planning that. We don't buy it to use it like that, but we would pay this much and the insurance would save our lives. Right. You've had 20 years where your teeth have been a mess and you can't buy something that covers that, but they think they can because these guys want us somehow to make, and that hornet net comes in a phone call that says, are you a participating provider? Yeah. So what we had to do is say, okay, thanks for calling. That's great. I'd like to answer that about your insurance questions. But first, who is this? How'd you hear about us? We get them in a conversation. Once we get them in a conversation, then we transition that conversation to say, now tell me what benefit plan you have. Oh, well, I work at Toyota or Lexmark or Tempur-Pedic or University of Kentucky. Those are our big employers. Or Valvoline is here in Lexington. And we say, great, we've got a lot of patients from there that have your benefits. We use them all the time. You'll get an out-of-network benefits, but our patients think it's a great idea. Do you have a minute for us to talk to you about it? Right. And if they go, well, does that mean he's not in network? Is it going to cost me more? We say, well, it depends. It kind of depends on the choices that you bought when they offered you, and it kind of depends on the choices you make here. But what we'll find out for you is what you need, and we'll be happy to do a predetermination for you. And like I said, we've got tons of these patients that come in. We think it's good that Dr. Freano's out of network. Do you want to know why? And they go, okay, why? Well, if he's in network, then he's going to have a list of materials and a list of procedures, and that's all he can do for you because he'll have a contract just like you do. If he's out of network, we can take your contract and see what you got, and then we can take all the new stuff that's out there and all the stuff you might want in addition to the stuff that you need and put it all together and come up with using your benefits for things like that. And if you decide you just want what's covered, we can do some of that too. We can do that. You need to meet Dr. Freano. He's just a great, and I had to train my team to talk like that. And we had to say, Billy Bob, he's the one that sent you. He wouldn't send you over here if he couldn't use his benefits. Come on in. Now, Kirk, I get, probably 5 or 6 or 7 out of 10 of those. I don't get them all. And sometimes they come and they go, I can't. And sometimes they come back. But I got a practice full of people in the insurance independent practice. And I tell you what else we have, and this just breaks my heart. You said young dentists. If you're in debt, I would understand. If I was in debt like you may be, I probably would have to take the best 2 or 3 for a while. I probably couldn't do what I'm doing now. I don't know that I could. I did it in '82. It was a different world. I wasn't in debt either. I had my practice, my dental education debt was about $30,000.
Right. Now, can I ask you a question too? Because our friend Chris Ramsey, he just asked that exact question. You're answering it right now, but I want you to open this up a little bit more. Chris said this: individual dentists can try to fight the dental insurance game, but how can you expect young dentists full of debt to play this game when they haven't built a reputation? This can take many years, and most dentists can't afford to do this. So, I get the question, and I get where you're going. So let's open that up, because that's a legitimate question.
Sure. If you're in debt, you're in trouble with it.
Right.
That's okay. So I'll answer if you're not in debt, and then I'll try to answer it if you're in debt, and I'll make it quick. Because Kirk, I can talk. I like to talk, man. I love being. I love to help dentists. My best friends are dentists. Really, they're just like the best people. I just think this is why it bugs me so bad that we get beaten up by insurance plans. I stayed out of debt. My family helped me a lot through school, and I had a little debt. And when I got out in practice, I shared space. I didn't go buy a bunch of stuff. I found a dentist that had excess capacity, and I shared space for 2 years. And I started really slow. And at that time, I did advertise. I bought brochures, and I got new residents to Lexington, because I knew this is a pretty fast growing area. We have a lot of people in and out through the university and through some of the industries we have. And I went from here. We had a lot of blue bloods too. This is horse country. And so I knew that unless people were pissed off and looking for a new dentist, I didn't want that person anyway, because they might be just as mad at me. Or if they wanted a discount coupon, I sure didn't want that, because I couldn't make a living on it. New residents, though, the churn, that's where I built my practice from scratch. The new residents moving in the area don't have a dentist, and they need one. I pounded them with direct mail before the internet days. I would still pound them with direct mail, directing them to my website. But that's how I would do it. So I kept I kept low debt. I had great quality literature. Everything about the printing I did was quality, and none of it promoted come in because it's cheap or we got a deal. I still believe you have to watch the message you send out, whether you're young or old. Right. When you're giving people a deal in healthcare, especially if I were doing that at my age, that'd be a disaster. What's this guy giving me a free deal? What's his problem? Isn't he any good? I spent my literature and my efforts on educating people about what all dentists could do, and then about what my practice could do. And I just kept educating and educating and educating. And it wasn't quick. It took me, it was a good 5 years before I really got off the ground. I don't know if you're in the position to do that. If you're out of debt, though, I would highly encourage you. Office share, stay out of debt. Call me. I can help you out. Link up with me on another time. If you're in debt, you probably got to take 2 or 3 of the best big plans that your major employers do. You probably got to do it. And transitioning that practice, you have to do this evaluation of what am I giving up? Now, when I wasn't very busy, and I've still got room in my practice, believe it or not, this is the beauty of this. I don't want to be really, really busy. I want to be really effective and great and quality. And I tell patients I want to be the best dentist you ever had. And my fees are higher, and I use the very best labs, which I do. And I take a lot of time, and I got really skilled people, and it becomes cheap. Yeah. Now, I had this guy, this really wealthy man, I can't call his name, in Lexington, walks into my office one day, and he says, I want my teeth cleaned without all the BS. But he didn't say BS. He said, I want my teeth cleaned without all the BS. And I said, okay. I said, can we do an exam too? He said, sure. How much time is that going to take? And at this point, I need an hour exam. But at that point, I said, I was shooting for an hour and a half. Can you give me an hour and a half? He was, sure, I can give you an hour and a half. No BS, man. I didn't hardly talk to him. I was surprised he even picked me out. I mean, he was an older dude, drove a Rolls Royce into my practice. And I'm about 33, 32 at this time. And so I did a complete exam, called it all out, and then we got his teeth clean. And I said, Mr. So-and-so, I'm dying to say his name. I said, here's the treatment plan you need. You need, these got 3 crowns to do, and you got this to do, and it's about this much. He said, well, when could we do this? And I got on my appointment book, and I looked around, and I said, we could do this into next week, and I'd like to do long appointments because that would save, I know you're busy if you planned it. If I had 2.5, 3 hours, that would be the best for both of us, and that'd be great. Just let me check with my secretary and set it up. And I said, can I get your records from your past dentist? It was my classmate.
Wow.
And I said, well, he goes, listen, they got so many people running in and out over there, going every direction. He goes, that's what I meant by not all the BS. I can't mess with that. So you keep your practice open. There's a huge fee for service market. Kirk, it's look at the ADA statistics. I did part of my talk. I think it's 56% have dental benefits one way or the other. 44% don't. Right. Come on, man. That's a ton of the market.
Yep.
Ton.
Yep. Yeah. And I think, Chris's question is legitimate. And I'll just add this because I think you're spot on, Doyle, is that, if you're a young dentist and you've got a lot of debt, it's true. You've got to make your practice work. But you're not tied. It's not concrete. You can slow down your participation. What most dentists don't understand is they think they just sign up for this, backfill their practice, and figure it out later. You can play with all the dials and you can slow down the less desirable insurances for the market that you're talking about, which is fee for service. And I'm adamant about what you're saying because all of you that are watching this, you all have favorite restaurants. There aren't people lined up outside with Groupons waiting to get in. Do you know what I mean? And people aren't lowering their fees at a restaurant just because they want to be competitive. There's a certain point to that. But I think the bottom line is dentists have to value what they do in a way that they can communicate with their patients. And that's the whole subject of today is, because here's where this goes. If we leave this up on Facebook long enough, we're going to get a whole bunch of negative comments. We just will. And we'll put it on. Well, no, maybe not for you, but just in general about the subject of insurance or
what's
on
the other
Dentaltown.
Side of it? Let's talk the other side of it then.
The other side. I want to go there, but let's do this. But I want to stay to the point for today, which is we can't go there for today because really what you did for your team is you said, hey, look, I get it, but we've got to start communicating positively. And I want to take this apart because you do a great job of this and helping patients understand that. And then as questions come in, I'm going to feed them to you. Okay. So if you're watching this,
I want to hear the other side of it.
I do too.
The debt. And I think if I were in debt, I know I would. If I was in debt, I would have to I participated 1 year with Delta Dental. Yeah. And I got out because I saw how it was going.
Absolutely.
I made it 1 year.
Well, the cool thing is that whether you like this country or not, it's still the United States of America, which is pretty cool. No one tells you what to do, what time to go to work, who to work with. You get to choose. And I love how you present this to your patients. And you use the word, this allows you to preserve your choice for your provider. So Let's go to the video because, and I won't show this during our broadcast. People can watch this. But you take us through the phone call and how you communicate with patients, and then you ask them to watch the video between now and when they actually come into the appointment. Tell us the thinking on that.
Well, because first off, people that are just non-starter, they just aren't going to do it. I don't want them to come either. If they're looking for and I get that. I told you I get 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
But what we talk about on the video is we talk about the insurance thing. And I'll ask them. You want me to just kind of go through that? Kurt?
Yeah, do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I just say, first off, when you think about insurance, that's health and car and fire, and fire insurance. But dental's completely opposite of that. So your plans here's what goes on with your plans. They're helping you cover your cost. When you have years of neglect. you don't have an insurance plan that's purchasable for that. There is no what we have to do as dentists is help patients understand that no one in the United States, none of you have dental insurance. None of them. You all have dental benefits.
Right.
Because insurance pays like this. Get this down, guys. I have a health problem. I pay this much. When I paid that much, they saved my life and pay. One of my patients, they said $700,000 for her breast cancer. She paid this much. If I unfortunately crash somebody out here tonight, which I never have, total my car, hurt somebody, I pay this much. They pay that much. That's insurance. Dental, though, when they pay this much, patient pays that much. And we get into trouble when we let downcoding go on. So I don't explain this on the video. I'll get back on the video. So I talk to them. That's one thing I tell them on that. The second thing I tell them is, look, when I'm in network, unfortunately, with all the new materials that are coming along, they're great. But, dental amalgams back in the 20s and 30s, it was approved. And it's been changed a little bit, but it's still approved. It's got mercury in it. It's got silver in it. It used to have lead in it, not anymore, but it's got a bunch of metals in it. And it looks bad, and it rusts, and it corrodes. And as soon as we put it in, it leaks. You put salt on it, and it's hot and cold. We're going to pound on it, and I do that on the video. So I think for me, I want materials that are going to last the longest. Well, the ADA has not taken that material off the shelf. Because of that, the dental company comes in and goes, we're going to take this on the shelf because that's what's in the contract. It's the least expensive, professionally available alternative, whatever code they've got for that. What we do as dentists is we send these off. We get downcoded. We take it and we eat it. We do what we still do the composite, or we still do, and the patients love us for that, or we put amalgam in, they hate us for that. But what I do is say, listen, here's the opportunity for that. You got a coupon for a beef dinner. It's not a steak, it's a hamburger. Okay? If I were under contract, I would be contracted to use amalgam or a cast crown. Now listen, they have no idea what a cast crown is.
Right.
They don't. They mean the code I get back in Kentucky is a non-precious cast crown, premolars and back. None of my patients want a silver-looking non-precious metal crown. None of them do.
Yeah.
If you're doing EMAX and letting yourself being downcoded, try this. Say, if you come to me because I'm out of network, see, I'm going to either give you that, which your contract allows you, or you can use your benefit and apply it to these space age materials that are no metal. They're like body armor. They came out of NASA and the military, and we've adapted them, and they're awesome. And they look like teeth, and they don't leak, and you can pound on them. How's that sound?
Yeah.
And that's how I talk positive. And they get fired up about it. They get pissed at Delta. They get pissed and go, man, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I came. But you got to be positive. Listen, I got a sweat going, Kirk. I believe it, man.
I
you
love
can be negative with me. It's okay. I'm going to communicate positive with you. If anybody comes back negative, bring it on, baby.
Yeah. And I could never be negative with you because this is the thing I'm so passionate about too. And now I want you to describe downcoding because it is a big deal. And sometimes people say, well, it's not a big deal. It is. Downcoding is a big deal.
It's huge. I had a crown downcoded $400 today.
Okay.
And the patient was, I told you earlier, director of human resources for a huge factory here. And she goes, what's that mean? I said, well, you've got this it's called a PFM. And even that's really not covered. They're covering the metal, but you don't like the PFM because the metal's showing. Right, I hate this. I said, okay. Well, what they've done is the code they've used is it's for a metal crown. Well, I would hate that worse. I said, right, because it's leaking. So we've got, what can you do? I said, well, I can do the ones that are in my mouth that you can't tell her. Well, that's what I want. Well, this costs $480 more. But I always am explaining into it. That's why I'm out of your contract. You don't want me to be under contract too. I always said to patients, I'm not on your list. I'm on your side. You know, the reason I'm not on your list, I can't be on your list and be on your side because I'm contractually bound, and it puts me in a box. For a business owner, nobody would do this. No restaurant would say, and this is where these people do kind of tick me off, Kirk, and I'm going to get negative here for a minute. I resent being called a provider and a non-participant and an independent dental consultant, which is BS. I mean, and all this crap where we've reviewed it and we've determined it's that's just, we have to learn to fight back and say the right things positive so that we don't get put in this corner. No restaurant would give you a coupon for beef because beef is misleading. Yes. I don't know if it's a steak or it's a hamburger. Yes. But if I got a coupon for a beef dinner, free beef dinner 2 times a year, and I go down here to the best steakhouse here, I'm not getting the filet.
Yes.
So I made a PowerPoint with this on it. I sometimes show the patient. That's one of just the misleading kind of things. And what we do, we somehow feel that we're morally responsible for their problem in their mouth, and we're not. Dentistry of all is the most predictable as far as, look, you're looking at a great set of teeth here. I had 6 sets of dentures looking at me every Christmas, all 4 of my grandparents and both parents. It doesn't run in the family, not even in Kentucky. It runs in the hygiene and the sugar and the flossing and the fluoride and the dental care.
Right.
So we don't have to be people. Okay, I went to Kings Island, a big amusement park this weekend, and they were lined up. I mean, hundreds of dollars. I saw how they were dressed. A Chick-fil-A sandwich was $15. They didn't have Kings Island insurance. But I have people that say, well, I don't have insurance. I couldn't have care.
Yeah.
I had a lawyer here left my practice recently and said, I'm not getting as much out of my premiums as I'm paying in. And I wrote him back. Guess what? It's not designed that way because they have to have a cut, or they don't sell policies like that. We had to learn too, if I shift a little bit so I don't beat a dead horse, learn to tell your patients the difference in group and solo insurance. It's very important that you educate them. We have people who have a disaster mouth. They come in, well, I'm going to buy insurance. You ever had this happen in your practice? Well, I'm going to buy insurance, get that covered, I'll be back. Really? Okay, so here's where we educate them. If you can buy it in a group, buy it because you have group purchasing power. Last statistics I looked at, 56% of the people in a group went once. Most of them didn't use the yearly maximum by far. Lots of people don't go for all kinds of reasons. Right. Money's only one reason people don't go to the dentist. If you think that you can go buy a single plan, let me tell you what's on the other side of that single plan. They know you're buying this to use it, just like you're not buying health insurance necessarily to get sick or car insurance to get a wreck. You're buying dental to use it. That's what waiting periods and exclusions for a period of years are. And then I ask people who are regular people in Kentucky, well educated, believe it or not, down here, they're smart enough to figure this out. So I figure they can get it the rest of the country because, we're not number one in education here. But every time I tell them, do you really think they're going to sell you a policy on and lose money? You're not going to get more out than you pay in. Why not just come here and let's care credit this? Let's do it in phases. And why not we do something really different in your mouth? The other thing that Kirk, maybe another time we'll talk about is how the complete exam ties into this. This makes it very easy for me because I do a complete exam. And I thought I did good, and then I went to the Dawson Center and I did better. But doing a complete exam, I take an hour, and I've become their advocate at the end of that hour. I've used a camera. They've seen leaking silver fillings, cracked teeth. They've seen all this stuff. So I'm not just arguing with them about it. I'm not just jawboning them. They're sitting looking at this and like, man, I've got a lot of stuff to do up here on the big screen above their head. My practice looks really good. And so at the end of that hour, I go, we can do this in phases. You know what would be really expensive? If we use that same old material and you had to do it again and again. So we use the best materials because we're going to pound on it. The other thing I really point out to patients to help them understand the dynamics. I said, do you realize that on your dental plan, it's sold annually? You have this annual maximum. And they go, yeah. And I said, well, see, your insurance company, they're not bad people. They're just helping broker a deal. If you can get in a group plan and get the group purchasing power and pay with pre-tax dollars, hey, you probably are getting a good deal. You probably are getting more out of this than you're paying in. It's only if you're in a single plan and you're paying with after-tax dollars, you're a complete loss. So we tell people, buy the group plans, buy them, bring them here, bring them to us. We want, and then when they walk in the door, whenever they go, we got Delta, we don't go, oh man, if I Delta dental, I never say what I'm saying to you guys in front of the patients, and ladies. It's like, wow, man, you got it. Finally, that job came through and you got benefit. Way to go. We're going to write a letter. We're going to do a photo. We're going to do a pre-estimate for you. Patients, I've had consultants tell me don't predetermine. I completely disagree with that. I predetermine cleaning sometimes. I mean, I'll predetermine phase one, $200, $300 composite, predetermination. But it gives me an opportunity to show them what they're getting.
Right.
But the benefit companies, Kirk, to be fair to them, they don't know if the employer is going to buy them next year or not. The employer, to be fair to them, has all these other things they're trying to pay, and they don't know if you're going to work for them or not. You may go to another company, or they may, so it's a year-to-year deal. And that's why we come back and say, but you know what? I'm not on a year-to-year deal with you. I'm looking at how long this is going to be for you. Your best interest won't let me think for you in a year. That's why I'm not in your network. So I'm not I'm on your side.
Yeah. And so I love this conversation because the challenge for a lot of dentists is you can go into the weeds really fast. And if you're listening to this, the two things I want you to get out of this more than anything is Doyle used the word advocate, because through a comprehensive exam, getting to know these people, you are truly fighting with them, working for them. And the second thing is really celebrating, because, while we're getting in this, we have dentists watching this, we can get in the mechanics. You do celebrate at every opportunity with patients. Hey, look, that's awesome. That is awesome. Come on in. Let's figure this out together and work side by side.
Never demonize. Never, because they really don't deserve to be demonized anyway.
Right.
They've just done a good job of crafting their message.
Yeah.
And they have done a really good job of crafting their message.
Yeah. And you use terms. It's called. You use the term. They co-equivalate words, or how did you say that before? They use words and co-equivalent.
Co-equal.
Co-equal. But you didn't go to provider school, right?
I didn't. No.
Okay.
I didn't go to provider school, and it's just a restoration. That is a term that dentists read, but a patient equates that with the best restoration in the world from this guy that's living in my neighborhood coaching my kid's soccer team. And if that restoration fails, you know what I tell them? If I use the material that's on your list, you won't call. I love to pick on Delta Dental because I just do. You won't call Delta Dental in the middle of the night. You'll call me, won't you? And so I'm responsible for all that stuff. And I just couldn't sign up to be a network with something that was offering materials that are outdated, worn out, and not even healthy for you or the environment. Now, do we want to get in the amalgam debate? We can. I'll debate you this way. If you go ask your patients which one they prefer, and all the ones that prefer amalgam based on the quality and the appearance, that's when I'm going to debate you on it. It's not going to kill you. It's just not the best. Who deserves the best care? Who does? Everybody does. They deserve the opportunity. They were lining up for $15 Chick-fil-A's. One sandwich. That was the best chicken sandwich, and they won the best one at Kings Island.
I lined up for two at one time. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you know what? I just was hungry, waited till the park closed. There was one 5 minutes away and got it for $3. Yeah. I couldn't do it, but people can make the choice for quality, but can we're supposed to be doing that. Yeah. We're not supposed to be going down to the provider level. I don't have my staff call me doctor all the time, and first thing I tell my patients, call me Doyle, and that way I don't have to call you Mrs. Smith. but I act like a doctor in my office because I am. I'm the physician of the masticatory system. I learned that from Pete Dawson, and it's a big phrase, but nobody works from TMJ down. Nobody does this. We are in wet. I mean, my book that I'm really going to write, Kirk, is Up to My Elbows in Spit. That's going to be my book. You know, incidents, accidents, and antidotes. We're up to our elbows every day in this. We deserve great life. And we're providing a great, you know, when you can't chew and when you look bad and when you smell bad and you bleeding from your mouth, and we go in and fix that. My hygienist can't do that in 40 minutes for $60. I'm sorry. It takes an hour. And if you need root planing, whether it's covered or not, you need it. Right. And I have to be emphatic like that. But I show them. Absolutely.
Well, I think the big point here too is you're not getting all of them. We said that before, and you're giving them an opportunity to meet you, see how it's different here, and then maybe going into the educational process. The big thing is you want to get an opportunity to meet them and create that type of relationship. Now, I love how you talk to your cash patients. So let's go through them. You look them in the eyes. People that don't have insurance pay cash, and what do you say to them? I love this. Go.
Well, so I ask them, do you have dental benefits? And I usually know they don't already. And they go, no, they kind of dry their head. I said, wait a minute, you're going to like coming here. And it's going to be a good place for you. And they go, but I don't have benefits. And I said, yeah, I know. But see, if I were on network, and I'm not on any networks, okay? You know how many discounts I'd be having to give to all my insurance patients? And so everybody here pays the same fee because I just couldn't get my mind around how unfair it would be that if you paid cash, that you would pay more than someone that was fortunate and had a company that had dental benefits. And they go, really? Well, I like that. They start shaking their head. And you know what, Kirk? It's the truth. It is the truth.
Yeah.
It is the truth. We have different fee schedules. My computer, I got one fee schedule, man. I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And what I would come back to, why I'm passionate about it, I was passionate about being a dentist. I didn't get kicked out of medical school and become a dentist. I applied to dental school first. My next door neighbor was a dentist. I wanted to be a dentist. And I remember feeling so good about it and being so pumped up about it and getting out and being so excited about it, and then meeting all the old guys and ladies at the Bluegrass Dental Society that were all discouraged and down on their and just talking bad about it. And I see that happening in another generation. Yeah. This lets me love being a dentist because I believe I'm doing the right thing for my patients. I have to do the right thing for my patients. And I think it's an honorable profession that's worthwhile to support us. It's a right thing to do. I got to support my family. I give to my church. I go to mass. And I want to do those things. And we don't need to feel bad with these big corporations wearing us out.
Yeah.
We have to learn to change the conversation and the tone.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. So let's go there and just say, let's say I'm a young dentist watching this. And I go, Doyle, I totally get it. Like, I want to do this, but I'm up to my elbows in spit. And where would I start? Like, give me a treatment plan that I can work on, let's say for the next year or 2 years, because I'm not going to get where you're at. And you mentioned the word 5 years. I love this. Pete said that he said it takes 5 to 7 years to become an overnight success. And I see that everywhere. So if you were to give a young dentist, and again, there's so many of them that watch this, give them a treatment plan. Let's start with this. Let's start with a couple things today. Yeah, well, just a couple pieces.
I would sit down and really figure out what all these plans are costing me, number one. Yeah. I would take the fee that I thought we should charge, and then I would look at the plans and I would look at what it cost me. When you look at, I'm not going to get into specifics, but I make a really good lifestyle income. And my patients support me. So my dad always said, when your customers are supporting you, you're doing the right thing. I got 4 employees. You don't need 10 employees. So if you were able to contract your practice, if you haven't got the 6 and 7 and 8 chairs yet, I got an office big enough for 6 and I've got 4 and I probably use 3.5. I thought I would need 6. I never expanded there. Look at what it's costing you, both in people, in equipment, and in debt service, and start whittling on that. Get the worst plan off your books and go to those patients and do a great exam before they leave. You know, you want to plan this. You want to maybe have a 6-month goal, and you already know the plan you're getting off of, so that when they come to you, you don't want to lose them. You want to say, listen, Kirk, next time your plan has gotten really restrictive, and we're just unable to be a participant, both for the reasons of profitability, number one. But if I'm going to be profitable, I have to do care and services that I can't provide for you. I just can't provide what they're offering for you in this office, but I want to. That patient, say, here's what I would really like to do. I really hope that you invite you to stay as an out-of-network patient. I would like to slow down and take a camera and go through your entire mouth. In case you have to go to another dentist, I at least would like for you to get my opinion of what I think would bring you healthy. Because whether you have benefits or not, you may lose your job or your company may upgrade. I don't know. But I know this is what I do for a living. Could I spend 30 minutes, no charge to you, and just do a complete treatment plan for you and see if there's a way you could stay in our practice when we make this change? That's how I would get off. Yeah. Because, that person is going to appreciate that. Right. And we get people that leave and come back. And if you just gave them a treatment plan and said, I hope you understand, here's what our fees would be, here's what your benefits are. The other thing we can do is phase, do your treatment in phases and help you with care credit. You're going to lose some of those. But as you whittle that back, when you open that chair time and you have staff that leave, cut your staff back and get the best of the best working for you. Don't put up with people who are non-productive employees because you got all these people. So I have a lean staff, and that's the two ways I make it. And then secondly, once I got out of debt, I've stayed out of debt. Yeah. I've been really disciplined about at home, and I have a nice place and all, and have all that stuff, but I've been disciplined. And then I started making purchases without using debt or very little debt. And then I got my office completely up to date. I mean, the first thing that people say in my office is, wow, you got all this technology. And it's a business strategy that is what we should be doing. We should be living a happy life. I was unhappy I had 7.5 employees at one point, and I was looking for 2 more rooms of equipment, and I was looking at my bottom line, and, I was 35, 40 new patients a month, and everybody loved me, but I didn't love me very much. I didn't love the way I was feeling. I wasn't digging it. And now I've got 12 to 15 new patients a month, and like I said, I know some of you guys are turning this off saying I can't do it. You do it by doing it in steps. Yep. You, like you said, an overnight sensation in 5 years. Get rid of the worst one. Get rid of the second worst one. Be kind to everyone. Open up time. It's okay. Get out in the community. I've said it sounds old-fashioned, man. I do a complete hour exam, and I volunteer for things that have nothing to do with my religion or my kids' interest. I just go help this community. Yeah. I got involved in the Carnegie Center for Reading and Literacy, and I met all kinds of people there. I tutored these inner city kids. I don't know any inner city kids, but now I do. Yeah. And I felt good. And when I felt good, I put a smile on my face. Yeah. And the patient's good. Man, you're down here volunteering. I want to be you. Are you in network? No, but you know what? We can work it out. And yeah. I got tons of people like that. Don't get in a hurry. If you're in a mess, you got in a mess in a hurry. Yeah. get out, but get out. You can do it, man. You can do it. And then I do stuff at my church, and I do stuff that my kids are involved in. But you have to get. You're not going to receive in this world if you're not a giver. Yep. And some patients like, how can I get more? We started this thing called Love Like Carolyn. I've gotten a lot of patients out of this. We had a patient that called up. Her name was Carolyn, and she had this disadvantaged person that she felt sorry for and wanted to help. And I listened to her story, and it just got me. because people are wanting to do free dental work. And I always felt like, we never turn a human down. Let me just tell you this. The humans out here with a toothache, we get them out of pain. I don't care if they ever come back. I don't send them a bill. If they want to come back, they can. Yeah. But we get humans out of pain. We get animals out of pain. We get humans. So anyway, Carolyn told me the story, and I said, well, let me see her. And she came in, and I said, Carolyn, how about if I partner with you and you be her sponsor? She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I'll do this for our costs, and my employees will work on our day off, and we want to make this bigger. I saw right off the bat this is going to be bigger. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, great. So we restored her whole smile, and it cost about 45 cents on the dollar. Carolyn paid me that. My staff donated their time. The patient got it, and then we shot videos, and we made brochures, and we started giving all our patients, do you want to love like Carolyn? But we never said anything. We just stuck it in their bag that they go home with, and they go, what's this love like Carolyn thing? I said, do you know someone that you care about, that you want to sponsor? Because we want to help you help someone else. Yeah. You do those things, man. This is I don't want to quit.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So now, I think the important thing out of all of this is you always have to find a way to communicate positively about almost everything, because patients come in for a lot of different reasons, and it's our job to make them feel better by the time they leave. Now, I do want you to speak on this real quickly before we close, is what do you think the future, because you do a lot of education. This is an incredible opportunity for young dentists, if you're watching this, to position your practice positively when it comes to this. And here's why. The future is only going to get tougher, because dentists do come to me and they go, it's so hard now. I get it. But the challenges for young dentists is not to stay there. You have to get better. You got to get better communicating. You got to get better training your team. So what do you think the future is going to look like maybe 5 years from now, or even 6 years from now in dentistry in this respect when it comes to benefits?
I don't know. Well, I do think the tide's turning, because I think people realize that Medicare works for seniors pretty well. Right. You can buy supplements, works pretty well. But there's a large segment of the country distrustful of government health care. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing, without getting into the politics of that, Kirk, we either have government health care, insurance health care. Mm-hmm. They're not a lot of difference. Someone else calling the shots. Right. Dentistry, though, we're health care that works. Mm-hmm. I think we have the opportunity to be that little place in the middle that says, look, healthcare says you can live without teeth, because Medicare, we get patients that call us, I'm on Medicare, I'm on Medicaid, but I need a denture, I need a dentist, and nobody takes it. It's like, let me tell you, here's a positive for them. And let me tell you, Medicaid doesn't cover for you to restore your teeth as an adult. If you're 18 or under, it does. Mm-hmm. You need a dentist anyway. Why don't you come on in? So we get Medicaid patients that realize, I don't have benefits. Mm-hmm. I just think the future, people are going to figure out that dentistry for us, you can survive without it. If you want good, healthy teeth, there's going to be a part that you're going to have to pay for it. I still think practices that gravitate toward the best have the least competition, because the tendency is to follow the herd. And this has been a strategy to get us all in the corral and shoot us all at once. The insurance industry has been carefully getting everyone in. This didn't start out the way it is now. This started out as, this is a positive. We're going to send you patients. It's only going to cost about 10% of your fee. And then as they've contracted and taken more and more control, now that I've got a patient with a cracked tooth that they said there's not enough evidence. What evidence do you need? I sent a photo and a large restoration. You didn't see, and I've got to appeal this. Mm-hmm. Patients figure this out. This patient is out of network and said, thank God you're my dentist. I don't know, Kirk, how to predict that future. I just believe in my gut that dentistry is unique because we put things in a hostile environment. It's wet. It's hot, it's cold, it's salty, it's acidic. We pound on it. We don't even clean it very well. Mm-hmm. People hate going to the dentist. Mm-hmm. So our opportunity is to position our profession in what we're capable of, not the least that we do. I mentioned the charitable things, Kirk, and I sincerely mean that. I want to just put one little cherry on that sundae. I'm not giving charity to insurance companies.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing when I view that I owe my patients participating because they can't handle it any other way. That is not true. Pete Dawson says this, when they quit, when the nicest restaurants in your town shut down, when the men's stores that sell nice Hilfiger ties and Brooks Brothers shirts, and when the Lexus store goes broke, and the BMW place goes broke, and the upscale apartments that are for rent go broke, and all those places go down, we may have trouble with dentistry. But we don't. We have trouble with us.
Yeah.
And if we just capture that what we do is worth it and be honest and then find a way to help people. I want to find a way to help people, but not have my business set up to help people that are just not in it for anyone's interest but their own. The benefit plans are not to be demonized. They are strictly for the maximum profit, and boy, they make them. And they're making them on our backs, and then we regret being dentists and hate what we can do. Well, heck, what we can do, look at your smile, Kirk. You've had great dental work. You know what that does for you? You're a good-looking guy with those teeth. You really are.
Well, I got to make it up somewhere else. And
what do you mean you don't have hair? I didn't even notice that. You got great teeth. Look at you, man. Somebody's helped you.
Those are the teeth God gave me. So I'm lucky. So I grew up in this profession. But, buddy, well, you nailed it on the head. I just love this profession. There are people out there that fix teeth, and there are people that change lives. And it's obvious that you're changing lives over there. And it's just a different business. So everybody's got a choice. Patients have a choice. And as a leader of your own business, you've got a choice in how everybody in your team communicates. And so I'm going to encourage you to check out Doyle's video. It's excellent. Like, that's one of the things I think is an excellent tool for everybody to be synchronized about how you communicate. And you and I are going to take apart a lot of different topics because I love the way you think, buddy. So
I had one last thing is just be real, and be positive. And then when you're in their mouth, act like a doctor, not an insurance clerk or a rep. Act like a doctor, because that's what you are.
Amen, brother. Now, if people want to get a hold of you, reach out to you, how can we find you? How can we find you?
Yeah, just go drfreano.com. It's Freano. It's real simple. There's all kinds of contact info. If you want to email me, I don't mind that. It's dfreano@windstream.net. I answer them. Dawson Academy knows how to find me. I'm on their faculty and I give classes through that. So you can contact me through there, and I'd be happy to help any dentist anytime.
Awesome, buddy. Well, I appreciate you so much. So stick around while we say goodnight to everybody. But hey, if you're watching this, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw today, do me a favor, hit the share button, share it with your friends. We love this great information to get out, and keep sending us suggestions for things that you want to see, not only from the show, but from Dr. Doyle. I'd be happy to get him on because we've got a lot to cover. So until we see you next time, you guys keep watching the Best Practices Show. Have a great evening.